Unclaimed property is a financial asset that remains dormant, or an account that's been sitting idle for a period of time with no activity. And what you do on unclaimed property is, after this period of inactivity, we call it a dormancy period, the holder of the property, meaning the one who actually has the property, has a duty to return that property to the property owner, the rightful owner, and if they don't return it to that rightful owner, then the responsibility is to turn it over to the state for safekeeping. Unclaimed property could be, well, we used to see payroll checks before you had direct deposits. That was a big source of unclaimed property, but could still be employee reimbursement. Maybe an employee had some expenses asking for a reimbursement of funds, and those funds may come in a regular check and they just lose it. It could be the back of a cereal box where you have a rebate that you mail in for $1 and you fail to cash that $1 check because it's inconvenient for you. That's actually unclaimed property. It could also be a credit memo, could be any uncashed check, mineral rights, dividend checks, a number of different things. For banks, it could be tangible personal property, what's in a safe deposit box. And that actually applies in some cases in a few states for hospitals. I know there's been some cases in New Mexico where a patient went in for surgery and they left the jewelry behind. That can be unclaimed property in some states. It impacts clients in a number of different ways. One, they may be the recipient of unclaimed property. They may have some money that they've inadvertently paid to someone else and haven't had that money returned to them. So they are the beneficiaries of unclaimed property and can receive some refunds. Otherwise, they may be holding this unclaimed property and they have the responsibility then to return it to their customer. There's a case out there right now where a state did an audit. They found that an employee failed to cash a $149 reimbursement check for expenses. The state took that money and extrapolated it into a $2 million assessment. Now, the penalties for not doing your due diligence under audit could be up to 50% of whatever the property is that's returned to the state. Very, very aggressive penalties. Well, what they need to do is, first of all, identify it, make sure it's truly unclaimed property. The laws are very complicated in this area. There's over 100 different types of unclaimed property, and within that 100 different types, there's probably 1,000 that we don't even know about. So you need to communicate with your customer and try to return this money. Every company should check their books and records, at least on an annual basis. Do you have credit memos that are sitting out there where your customers aren't using it? Do you have uncashed checks? Do you have anything that belongs to anybody else? Unclaimed property is becoming more prevalent, and states are becoming very aggressive in the audits of unclaimed property of all businesses, from small ones to large. So we at iBailey have helped develop this toolbox because the penalties can often exceed 50%. The look-back period is 10 to 20 years. We're trying to be proactive with our clients through the use of this toolbox to assist them in identifying unclaimed property. Within this toolbox, our clients are going to see tools that are going to assist them on the due diligence letter that has to be sent out to customers. It's going to provide them with a listing of what is the typical unclaimed property that you're going to find, what is the dormancy periods for this property, along with the dates that the property becomes dormant and when it has to be remitted to the state. This is all going to be linked into the return that has to be sent to each state at the end of the year. Well, we help the clients, one, identify the unclaimed property, determine do they have an issue. Go take them through this process. We have a process called due diligence where you need to send out a letter to that property owner and say, hey, I got some property for you. Why don't you give me a call so I can give it to you instead of giving it to the state? We help them in that process. Because of the complexities and the rules of unclaimed property and the number of different types of properties, we really get out there to work with them to identify, is it truly unclaimed property? What is the dormancy period? And the biggest issue that we probably face is what state does it go to if you can't find that property owner? And that's where we help the clients. So we walk them through the process, cleaning up their books and records. The danger of not doing something and being proactive is an audit. If you'd like help with unclaimed property, contact us at iBailey. We can help you.